it's just a weird thing where like I don't know, like people say like oh they're making these changes for the casuals or casuals kind of catch flack here as though it's the casuals' fault this is happening. But like I don't know, I was a Tekken 7 casual, and that was how I got to the game. And none of the people not liking Tekken 7 discourse penetrated my sphere. Like it didn't get to me. It didn't matter. You know what I mean? Like Tekken 7 was cool, and I was like, yo, like I was a casual. I hopped on and I bought the game, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I enjoyed it, and I found community in that, and I had a good time. Tekken 8, I have casuals who play. Like I know casuals who play that game. It's not fun. Like they don't like this shit. You know what I mean? Because it's not fun on a base level like the shit that they've done. So it's like, it's like who is this for, and like what, like how is
they've made this game for the casual in terms of viewership and not necessarily playing. And I think there's a disconnect there. There's a disconnect because they're intending for this game to play like this Michael Bay spectacle on screen.
Michael Bay as Tekken,
where everyone is in Twitch chat going, "Oh my god, this shit is so hype." When it's now the opposite. Like everyone's seeing this and like that Jin sequence, right? I could easily see in their head being like, wow, this is cool. He's doing all this sparks and like he's flying at you and he's hitting you and he's doing this big heat smash in the wall splat. Man, that's cool. Not a single person thinks that's fucking cool, by the way. But like, that's the disconnect. It's made for the casual in terms of viewing.
Yeah,
and
not playing.
That's always been the biggest problem. They don't care how the game plays. They care about how it looks on Twitch. And that's always been their biggest gripe with older Tekkens.
And to add to that too, to defend the casual player, because I kind of pretty much, like, you know, you guys know I don't play ranked or anything like that. I just sit here and I try to play Tekken with strong players like Jerry or Malcolm or any of the guys in this room really, but then the other time I'm spending equally as much time trying to help casuals learn the game. And every casual that I've ever helped, and I've helped a lot now over the last 5 years, all of them just want to play Tekken. They want to learn Tekken. They want to interact with Tekken. You don't buy Tekken to play Street Fighter. You don't buy Tekken to play Guilty Gear Strive. You buy Tekken to play Tekken. These people, we've probably been running a bit long, so I kind of do want to end it on this sort of point that will. Do we not think, to some degree, that when the devs talk about the casualization of a franchise, that really what they're saying is that they think that we're stupid? Because when I see these decisions, they always focus on taking away the depth, and it's like you're assuming that the people that want to play the game and are bad at the game aren't just bad at the game because they're new, but they're bad at the game because they can't understand and wrap their heads around complex concepts. That's the way that I see it. And I feel like if the people that don't want to interact with a complex game like Tekken, its reputation precedes it. People know if you do any research into the game whatsoever, which if you're casual, like here's the thing about casuals, a lot of casuals do actually make informed purchasing decisions. That's why they're casuals. They look into things because all they care about is the thing good. If thing is good, I will try it for a month. That's what a casual does. And so it's like, you know, I feel like the vast majority of those casual players that actually knew what they were getting into to a degree. And I feel like the dumbification of the game is actually an insult, not just to the legacy players that have put time into it, but it's doubly so an insult to the people that want to learn the game, because basically it's just saying like, oh yeah, you're not good, you're not smart, here you go, we're going to give the game to you on rails.
Yeah, the Oki change where they just took Oki out of the game, some people, like, you know, like I talked about this with Tibbs a little bit, and I won't mention names, but, you know, they were like, bro, like, them taking out tech roll catches, that's a defensive buff. And I was like, what?
No,
and I was also like, I was also just like, why would you take out Oki, though? Like, why would you take out that type of thinking? That's what makes the game in depth. That's why people enjoy the game, you know?
Simplification isn't a buff, because there was already an answer before. Right? There's already an answer before, so it's not really a buff to anyone that knew the answer. It's not a buff. It's just idiocracy, essentially. We're becoming idiocracy.
Yep. It was just like dumbing it down to the point of like, there's no way that you won't understand how to get out of this situation because there's no way to fail that test now.
All right. All right, I think we'll wrap it up. Anyone got any final thoughts that you want to get out before I end the stream?
I got one. I just wanted to follow up on what was just said. I don't think. It can come off as like an insult to someone's intelligence, but I don't think Okay, so what I'm trying to say is the casualization of Tekken. I don't think it's actually aimed at the casual who would have played Tekken. I think it's aimed at the people who never would have played a fighting game in their life, but they can force something and hit some buttons and do some cool stuff and win, and that's who they want. They literally want people to buy the game who never would have had any interest in buying the game anyway, and are still never going to buy this game anyway. They're just trying to get people who never would have wanted to play, so they're making changes for people who don't care because they're not actually watching the game.
But
their eyes aren't even on it.
The thing is, though, about making that point is like how, and and I know that Price has made this point many times, these people don't stay.
Yeah.
Like if they don't care enough about the game, they probably get on for like an hour or two maybe, and they usually might get on an hour or two, but you won't see it consistently happening.
Yeah, I just feel like the changes are made to get people to buy the game that were never going to buy it in the first place. And nothing they can do would make them buy this game. But those changes are made for those people to increase sales, not actually to casualize the game. Because we see similar changes in other genres and in other games where the game just becomes the path to gratification is faster and simpler, right? To get the hyper casual is what I'll call it, the person who plays games on their phones and that's it. Like those type of people to play the game, right? They're never going to buy Tekken in the first place. But it feels like these changes were made for them, not like the basic casual that would have bought the game and played it for a month.
But that's the other problem too, is there's a fundamental misunderstanding amongst game devs, fighting game devs particularly, that this genre is never going to be that. It's never going to be that. It's not intuitive enough. Like FPS does so well because it's very easy to understand right away. Okay, I point at the thing and I click my mouse or I pull the trigger. Like, it doesn't get more simple than that. It's a very simple gameplay loop that has infinite skill ceiling. That's why it brings in casuals and pros. But the way fighting games are is that the skill floor is so fucking low that you're falling through the floor and descending to hell when you start. So, like, it just can never be that way. Because the type of casuals that they're talking about, you're right, like, those people just want instant gratification. And I would say fundamentally, one of the other problems, too, is, like, I can hand over Call of Duty to someone, and, like, if they're just playing casually, they might not care that they go, like, 6-25. There's a lot of people that pick up the game and play that. Because at the end of the day, you can go 6-25 and you'll still win games of team deathmatch when you're carried by your friends or whatever. Fighting games will never attract that crowd specifically because no one can carry you. You will get that you lose repeatedly, over and over and over and over and over. And like the Call of Duty shitter, the Candy Crush shitter, all these people, they are not playing games that make them feel bad. They're never going to buy a game that can make them feel bad. Because God knows, every person here loves Tekken. Every person here has felt bad about, bad from Tekken many times. And I'm not talking about Season 2 patch. I'm talking like yelling at the screen when some shit happens that you understand, or you lost to someone that you feel like you should have beat. Like, these games will bring out negative emotion. It's the nature of a competitive game. And there's no way that it can ever be made casually without basically becoming something completely different to me.
Talk to him, coach.